And let's move on to another story today. Women celebrities who dress like prostitutes but complain about male attention are to blame for, and I quote, confusing men. Those are the remarks of the actress Maureen Lipman, who says the hashtag #MeToo movement has gone too far. She says we mustn't wipe out men by vilifying them for incidents that took place decades ago when standards of behaviour were different. And I'm asking you this morning, the headline is Women Dressed Like Prostitutes Confuse Men, claims Lipman. Does Maureen Lipman have a point? Do you think we are at risk of vilifying men? Do you think that we are trying to impose anachronistic standards on men? If we look back at things that happened in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, times were different, behaviour was different, so you can't judge what occurred then by the norms of today. Plus, do you think it's true that women who dress in scanty outfits are confusing men? They're confusing them. They're sending out one message, but also saying, I have autonomy over my body and you don't get to touch it unless I say so. Or do you think there's nothing confusing at all about a woman dressed, as Maureen Lipman puts it, like a prostitute? It's up to her to decide what to wear, and it's up to a man to give her the respect of working out who she is, and if she's a prostitute, to make her a fair offer, not just to lay hands on her without being asked or without agreeing it. So that's what we're asking this morning. And let's talk about this subject to Mike Buchanan. He's the leader of the political party Justice for Men and Boys. Hello, Mike. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Vanessa.
Is Maureen Lipman right about this? Are women confusing men and are we vilifying men?
Yes, I think on both counts. Some young women today go out, not just young women, go out today dressed for the night as if they've taken their fashion lead from porn stars or raunchy celebrities. So, they really shouldn't complain about getting attention from men. And
let me stop you there for a second. You say they dress as if they've taken their inspiration from porn stars. Yep. Is that not their prerogative? It's not really your prerogative, is it, to have anything but a kind of taste issue? You may not think it's elegant. You may not think it looks pretty or beautiful. You may maybe think it looks vulgar. But that is where your interaction with a strange woman ends, isn't it? Unless by consent it goes any further.
Yes, there is a point there, but we're talking here about getting attention from men, and please don't tell me that these women are not trying to get attention from men.
I might well tell you that. I might. Why are you laughing? I'm not being amusing at all. Sometimes I'm hilariously funny. This is not one of those moments. If a woman chooses to dress in a certain kind of a way, I think many women will tell you that when they do so, they are doing so for themselves. It's nothing to do with men, nothing to do with the man they're with or the man they're going out with. And it's certainly nothing to do with a strange man that they don't even know. They are not dressing in a certain way to project a signal to that man, which is, I am available for groping. Do please come and feel my buttocks. That's not it.
No, nobody is talking about groping.
Well, what are you talking about then?
I mean, at the end of the day, you look at the circumstances where women will often be dressed like that. I'm told by young men who go to nightclubs where there's drunk men and drunk women that there's as much groping of the young men as there is of the young women. It's an environment where that's almost expected. But I think we need to talk about the Me Too witch hunt, which is this is about. It's all about demonizing men, often so women can get money from wealthy men. It completely ignores the other side of the coin, that women use their sexual power over men to get what they want, whether it's a well-off partner, a good lifestyle, a job offer, or any other personal advancement. So let's be honest about power. It goes two ways.
Women, you say on the radio this morning, what time is it? 8:52 on Tuesday, the 4th of September, 2018 on BBC Radio London. You say, do you, in all sincerity and seriousness, that you think women use their sexual power over rich men to get what they want? And what is it you think they want?
No, I think women use their sexual power to get women, not just over rich men, because there's just not enough rich men to go around, is there?
So use their sexual power to achieve what? What do women want, do you think?
Well, it could be a relationship with a well-off man. It could be a good lifestyle, a job offer. I mean, let's not pretend that that attractive women don't use their attractiveness for personal advancement, Vanessa. Now, women still expect men to make the first pass. And men are no more psychic than women. So how can men know if their pass is likely to be accepted by the woman?
Well, how about they ask politely? How about that?
Well, men do.
Well,
They do that all the time.
obviously, the men who are implicated in the hashtag #MeToo scenario are not the men who ask politely. They're not the men who say, "Would you care to dance?" or "Is it okay if I approach you?" or "I've been admiring you from across the room or across the bus or in the park. Would you like to chat? Would you like to talk? What's your name?" And if the woman says, "Actually, no, I wouldn't like to talk," they say, "Oh, thanks a lot," and move away calmly and unthreateningly. They're obviously not those men, are they? Why do they not have the ability to ask politely or to make a kind and unthreatening overture that if the woman likes the look of the man and is in a mood to be talked to, that she can then respond and it will be an entirely civilised interaction? And if she wants to dance and if she wants to snog and if she wants to cop off with him, she can do that too, but not if she doesn't want to.
No, I mean, no one is saying that consent is not an issue, but the sort of men who are the focus of the Me Too witch hunt are the 1% of the 1%. They're the very wealthy people who women do throw themselves at.
I mean, I mean, as far as my programme is concerned, and I do wish you'd listened to some of my shows, because if you had, you would have heard women in every possible environment: estate agencies, cafes, chemist shops, schools, hospitals, all over the place, in every stratum of society, experiencing precisely the same thing as the women in Hollywood with the mega-rich Hollywood moguls. You don't have to be a rich man to do that, and you don't have to be a would-be starlet to be attacked or offended or groped or anything else. We've had calls from women who worked in offices, women who worked in sweet shops, women who worked, as I say, in schools, in police stations, having been harassed, groped, and in many other ways affronted, insulted and assaulted by a variety of different men. It's nothing to do with rich men and women who want money.
The idea that this goes on a serious scale, Vanessa, is I'm afraid just complete nonsense.
Why? Why do you say that? On what basis do you say that?
Well, it's just people's claims. I think there's an element of fantasy going on with some women here.
There's no more validity in your claim or less validity in other people's claims. You're making claims. We've had listeners call in and say, I'll give you one example. A lady who worked in an office, in fact, she worked in the human resources department of an office, an ordinary business, middle sort of ranking. And she worked for the boss of the human resources department. Every time she stood up to either go to the loo or get a cup of coffee, and I hope my listeners will remember this call because I certainly haven't forgotten it, it was fairly recently, her boss would come and sit down in her chair. She had finished going to the loo or she'd finished getting the cup of coffee. She wanted to come back to her desk, sit down and get on with her work. There was her boss, the head of the Human Resources Department, sitting spread-legged in her chair. What was she supposed to do? So she'd sort of hover about, and eventually he'd say, "What are you doing?" And she'd say, "Well, I want to get on with my work." And he'd say, "Well, sit down." Pointing to his thighs. "Sit down." In other words, sit on my knee. Sit on my knee. You want to carry on with your work? Sit on my knee. If she wanted to complain to him, he was the boss of the department. What was she going to do? He was the boss and he ran the department. She had no one else to complain to. She wasn't trying to get money from him. She wasn't trying to get preferment from him or a promotion or a pay increase. She was trying to do her job. And that's just one caller.
Vanessa, nobody is least of all me, is defending that sort of behaviour. But let's go back to where we started with Maureen Lipman. Yeah. She's making the point that when women dress as some of them do, they will get attention. They can't then complain about getting attention. I'm not talking about groping.
But nobody's complaining about getting attention. If someone looks at you, they look at you. It's when they don't just look at you, they pinch you or they touch you or they in some way or other grope you. We all saw the footage of poor old Ariana Grande at Aretha Franklin's funeral. All she's trying to do is sing a song in tribute to the great legend who has passed away. And then we have the Reverend groping her to the point where it looked as if he was giving her a breast examination, for God's sake.
This is all the tired narrative of women as perpetual victims.
But did you not see that? She really was the victim. Well, there are pictures all over the place of it. She was standing on the stage singing. She was not flirting with the presiding vicar. She was not asking for any kind of sexual attention. She wasn't dressed particularly provocatively. After all, it was a testament and a tribute to the late Aretha Franklin. It wasn't some sexual assignation. And he puts his arm around her for absolutely no reason. And then you see his hand just kind of resting on the side of her breast. And then you see his fingers kind of digging in. That's what you see. She didn't ask for it. She's not trying to play a victim. She's just working, singing.
Right, but I mean, this is all missing the bigger picture, that women have sexual power and they derive benefit from it. We never hear about what women get from their sexual power. I mean, it could be there's a downside to it, which is at times unwanted attention. But my God, attractive women use their attractiveness to get things in life.
And what about women that you don't personally find attractive? What happens to them? Do they have no power and they have nothing you feel to use as a kind of commodity?
They have less power. Attractive, attractive women, you could say objectified. I don't like that word, but they have the power over men the same way that women financially objectify men. Okay, so if Brad Pitt comes on,
the idea of the dependent woman financially objectifying a man, 75% of women work. So whatever it is that you're suggesting is a kind of equation and a payoff doesn't seem to be working out. Mike, thank you. I have to stop you because we're going into the news. Thank you very much indeed. Mike Buchanan, their leader of the political party, which is called Justice for Men and Boys. Maybe you agree with every word he uttered and you think he's absolutely right. If you do, please give us a call. 0800 731 2000.